Good morning and welcome to Morning Coach Today. I am so glad you're with us. Hey, it's JB. Super pumped you're here. It is January 23rd, the 23rd year, ready to take it on episode 4854 and excited. Why am I excited? Because it's a Monday, and I love Mondays because it gets us a chance to get organized, get structured, and really get after it. And we're going to get after it this week. We've got a huge week planned this week of us sticking with our plan, but also doing some pretty cool things, starting with embracing technology. I want to go over some things that we learned in Cabo this week and some things that I can bring back to you, some people that are doing some amazing things, whether it's in human performance or also on the technological side. So we're going to get into that today, talk a little bit about that. We're going to continue our book study, The Magic of Thinking Big, chapters 7 through 10. We're going to keep hammering that away. I think you're loving some of those editions. I mean, it's just a great book. It's one of the fundamental books I go to back every year, at least once a year. And then we're going to talk about lessons and trends, learning from Cabo. What are some of the things that I did learn? And I mean, even get into depth of that on Wednesday. You don't want to miss that. Thursday, of course, is Ask JB. Ask questions up in our Discord chat, our Discord server, or send us an email to info@morningcoach.com. Something that you need me to hit on. Love to hear from you because I love to answer questions. Friday, we're going to talk about being the producer versus the consumer, something that I think is really critical, and we're going to get into that in depth, especially as far as creating abundance. Saturday is a good one. It's going to be talking about some production systems. This is not for everybody. I get that, but it is something that you can add to your toolbox, or maybe you have some children that are looking to build some cool things and are looking for production. We're going to talk about some of the things I'm using right now to create more, and you'll hear more about that today and why that's important. And then on Sunday, we're going to talk about allowing things to happen and just letting things work themselves out. So it's a huge week. Excited about it. We're going to be embracing tech, and we're going to have some fun. With that being said, I went to a session with one of the best experts in the world on human performance right now. Works with professional football teams, is doing some really cool things with data, a lot of research, is a doctor, and maybe bring him on the show. You know, I love those human performance experts. And the thing that he really hit a home run with, and I just want to share with you this as we start this Monday, is he hit a home run with. He had all these areas which we know, mental health, physical health, right, eating right, the things that we know are going to add to performance, sleeping, those things are so critical. But the last one that he had on his list I thought was critical, and it was community. It was community. And a lot of performance experts don't talk about the importance of connecting each other. And so as we get into technology, I just want you to remember that we have a community. You know, we've got the Discord group, great group of people that are doing cool stuff. Don't forget that community. And of course, as I mentioned last Thursday, the retreats is another great way to become part of a community. Get that part of your life. I think it's so important that you do that. And that's why I go to masterminds and I connect with other people because that community is so critical. So let's get into it. So as I was at the event down in Cabo and learning from some of the best in the world, I mean, just amazing people. We all fly in from around the world to share ideas and concepts. One of the big things that's going on right now is embracing tech, right? And embracing tech in different areas, specifically for me, marketing. Been talking about growing a little bit and growing here. And so finding things that are going to work as we put our brand message out to the world. And in looking at things, one thing that's big right now is a idea of communicating via TikTok or YouTube Shorts. These are small little videos, and they're really starting to work. And they're not all the dancing videos, et cetera, et cetera. So when I was there, it was like, okay, it's time to look at this. And I met with Kurt Malley, and Kurt's a good friend of mine, super marketer. He's like, JB, right now, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok are looking for more positive type of content. So I was like, okay, cool. Let me look into that, and started to say, okay, the thing that I need to do is build 1-minute videos, put them out on TikTok, put them out on YouTube, put them out on Instagram Reels. And it's not something I've ever really wanted to do, but the science and the proof is behind it. Like it's working, like it's a really important thing to do to expand your brand and put energy out there. And again, my whole purpose, and if we go all the way back, I know a lot of new people have joined for Get It Done Now. There's a lot of new people that are here that are focused on productivity, and that's cool. I love that. I mean, it's part of what there's a few things I love to teach. One is you being more productive, The other thing is like intelligent life design, helping you find freedom. And the third one is elevating consciousness, right? And really bringing that spiritual energy to the world. And the last one is really something that just I love to death, right? And it's funny because we were in the meeting and they were talking about new communication channels and the way to embrace tech and, picking up on some of these new things. And, one of the areas is TikTok, which is not a big, I'm not a big fan. Most of it's just dancing. It's most of these high energy videos. And the guy that was talking about it has literally turned a katana business, which is a Japanese sword, into a multi-million-dollar business, not from selling swords, but from doing TikTok and YouTube videos, which of course I love because it's an area of interest. But it was interesting because it was just about the money. Right. And we have some very conscious oriented people in our group, and somebody raised their hands and goes, I get what you're doing, but, are we really hurting others by this, allowing them to have these short attention spans where they the first 3 seconds, literally, you've got to hook somebody. Are we contributing to the problem? And he actually came back and said something I thought was really appropriate. Because his stuff is not conscious generated. He's like, well, you should go out and do some conscious stuff, right? And it kind of hit home because as we're really trying to focus on making a difference in the world, it was like, okay, I need to start looking at this and start focusing on what works and start putting some time into it. And the thing about technology, it's always moving, it's always changing. And one of the things I'll talk about this on Saturday, right, is the systems that I use. There's people that come to me and talk about podcasting, and I can really help somebody. I can change because I do it different than anybody else. I really do. A lot of people do these interviews. They try to do the Joe Rogan thing. It's really hard with the technology to do that, especially when you're doing interviews remotely and trying to match up everything. And I do it a lot differently, right? So I've done it differently for years. So it's great to have people come in and do the retreat and then see the studio and see how I do it. But not everybody has to be at that level, right? But there are some specific techniques that work, are tried and true, and have been tried and true for over 17 years and will continue to work, right? There's certain things that just work. But with that being said, there are certain new things that you got to learn. And when you're building and you're out there and you're embracing tech and you're growing, you got to be able to jump in there and learn. For example, a new one right now is ChatGPI, right? That OpenGPI, that ChatGPI, or artificial intelligence. We've been using that for a year, and we do it to do blogs, but now it's going so fast that people are doing 5, 6, 7 blog posts a day. They're using it to solve problems. They're using it to learn investing advice. It's crazy. And that is just basically a program that has read the entire internet and is bringing that research back and using artificial intelligence to utilize for different types of ideas and content that it can find through researching the internet. Now, all of it doesn't come back perfect, but a lot of it comes back pretty good. I mean, we can get a blog post out that actually seems like a human wrote it, and it works pretty good. So the idea is to start looking at this stuff and understanding that it can change your life, and it will change your life. But you got to stay up on it a little bit. And here I'm at 53, and one of the things I want to do is help you do that, right? So it's important that as you come to Morning Coach, it's just not about productivity. It's just not about energy. It's also about understanding what technological things are actually working and what should you be focused on with the constant change. Now, I was talking to my buddy Kurt, who is a master marketer, and because Facebook changed their algorithm, basically Facebook didn't do it, Apple did it. So there was this really crazy thing. It's pretty interesting what happened. Apple has put this new thing out that says, hey, if you want privacy, don't share your data with Facebook. Don't share your data with these third-party sources. But the problem with that is Apple made it out to be like it's a privacy thing. But it's really not a privacy thing. What Apple's going to do is they're going to start sending ads to you, and they're trying to get the money from Facebook. That's why Facebook stock's dropping, and Apple's making more money because they're trying to control the ad network through iOS. The problem with it, and this is what's crazy, because when it first came out, I'm like, yeah, great, privacy, right? But the problem with it is then you're the Facebook and these other third-party apps are not getting the data to allow to serve you the things that you probably want. So you're getting all kinds of garbage. And if you've turned these things on, I guarantee you're getting a bunch of garbage. And so you're getting ads for all kinds of stuff. And so instead of it understanding you and trying to build around you, in the name of privacy, Apple came out and said, hey, we need to get rid of this because, they're using people's data, the marketers are using it. And to some extent they were. But if you really looked at it, what's crazy is Apple is slowly moving into the ad space to take it over. So there's always something going on behind the big picture. In fact, the person that was actually giving us our session on this said it was one of the greatest moves by a company ever. They stole literally billions, maybe trillions of dollars from Facebook by doing this, right? And other third-party apps by saying, okay, don't track the data anymore, but they are. And it's really, really crazy. So these tech companies are, you got to stay up on all of this stuff, right? Because something looks great, like something's happening. And Apple did all these wonderful commercials where people were shouting out their credit card numbers and all this stuff, saying, turn on this data thing. And they actually use some NLP in the way the button is. It's like, do you want to protect your data from quote unquote Facebook? Then make sure you click this button. But it's not just about collecting the data. It's about understanding you and being able to provide you the information you need. So it wasn't as negative as they portrayed it, but everybody bought into it. I think 83% of the people have turned that off on their iOS devices. And that's letting Apple have all the data instead of everybody else. And it's going to allow Apple to dominate again in an ad space by just kind of stripping these guys of their power, which is really, really interesting. Again, understanding technology. So knowing how everything works is a really important part. And I will bring a lot to that to you because I love tech and I'm into it, but I want you to embrace it. Like, I want you to open up to it. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, tech is going to make your life better. Is there situations where it makes it worse? Yeah. I mean, there's times when things, I guess tech is worse. There's a lot of people, oh, it's spying on me. It's learning from me. Look, I got an Astro robot in my house. Amazon's first robot. I'm testing for them. It was so awesome when I was in Cabo. I could drive it around the house and pull it up to Neo and say, hey, Neo. And the robot would say, hey, how you doing, Neo? And could talk to him, and I could see what's going on in the house. And every 2 hours, it does kind of a security check. I love tech. I'm not so worried about that other stuff because I'm not doing anything that I'm worried about anybody getting involved with. I get the privacy aspect. You don't want Amazon to have your stuff. You don't want Facebook to have your stuff. You don't want Apple to have your stuff. I get it. But we live in an age where that's almost an impossibility unless you just, you get off the grid, which some people do, and it's totally cool. But instead of getting off the grid, I want to embrace it to be able to generate revenue for me. And again, this is what we're going to talk about on Friday, being a producer versus a consumer, and really utilizing it to make money. So instead of saying, oh, it's abusing us technology, I got to be private, I'm making money with it. Now, I get it. A lot of 9-to-5 people are like, man, I don't want anything to do with that. But if you could turn it around and make money with it, then it could totally change everything for you, right? And so that's embracing tech. And so when I look at this, again, stepping all the way back, it's like, let's look at TikTok, which is just kind of a weird thing, right? I'm not a big fan of it, but yet it works. And will it be around for a long time? I don't know. It just overpassed Google as the #1 search engine, which is really interesting. So a lot of people are searching on it, mostly younger people. But India isn't even has outlawed it. Like, you can't even do anything in India. There is some governmental issues. They're worried because they like new accounts. TikTok's algorithm does. And they're worried that some viral things can happen very quickly to affect elections and also the way people think, which I can understand. But understanding that's important for you too, right? Being able to elevate your awareness and understand the cognitive dissonance occurs between these platforms and understand the algorithms being served to you. I personally would rather have them take my data and give me stuff I want than be getting a bunch of stuff I don't want, and that's just me. But understanding those concepts at a deeper level is going to allow you to live a better life. And it's going to allow you to understand the tech instead of allowing the media and other sources to give you the ideas of what you're thinking. Like I said about the Apple thing, we all thought it was great. Like, it's like, oh, wow, Apple's protecting us. No, they're not protecting us. They're actually stealing the data. They're telling Facebook to shut off their data, 83% of the population, so they can have it, so they can serve you ads. Pretty insane, right, when it comes right down to it. But let's embrace tech this week. Let's find things that work for us. There's a lot of things coming. I'll talk to you a little bit more about artificial intelligence, some of the things that we're doing. Again, I'm going to talk about some of the systems we're doing. One of the things that's going on Saturday, I will talk about the 1-minute video. I'll also talk about that on Wednesday because it is the new kind of thing that everybody's pushing and they're pushing out. And if you are into content, it would be good for you. And if you're not even into content, you will understand the trends and what's happening, right? So when you're in those meetings with the tech group, you'll know more than they do. That's our whole purpose here at Morning Coach, to give you the information. I mean, we've got to be here 365 days of the year. So we're going to have some fun, right? That's what we do. And I want to give you as many ideas and thoughts to help you move forward. And one of those has to do with embracing tech and understanding the depth of it, okay? But don't forget about community. To be at high performance, we need information. We need to have our minds right. We need to have our physical body right. We need exercise. We need to eat right. We know that. We need to sleep right. But we also need community, and that's what we're also providing, a powerful community to help you connect to. Okay, so I love you. Get out there, have a great one. And by the way, interested in coming to one of the retreats, as I discussed last week, send an email to info@morningcoach.com. We will set up a time to talk. It's all based on the individual. That's how I'm doing it. This is my thing. You know, we only got, I think, 5 seats available for March's event. And those seats are going to go to people, and the rate is going to depend on the person. It's just the way I'm doing things. And if you're interested in being around amazing people, very small group, shoot an email in, and we'll discuss it, and we can figure out how to get you in here, and when I think you should come and get you with the right group, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to be awesome. Hour outside of Chicago. Okay, so get out there, have a fantastic day. I love you, I love you, I love you, and I'll be back with more right here tomorrow on morningcoach.com. Go do it.